Hello Internet, I'm Meglathon, and you're on my new show in which I will do discussions, history, and an overall view of trading card games. We'll be mostly focusing on the YuGiOh trading card game as well as the Vanguard trading card game, which are the two trading card games I'm currently playing the most of, apart from Hearthstone Beta, which I was pretty lucky to get into. Now then, this is the first episode, so I thought we'd take it in pretty easy, and just do a bit of a history lesson, some combos, things like that around just maybe a very specific subject. And in this case, with the recent release of the brand new structure deck saga of the Bleu-Eyes White Dragon, which comes with plenty of new things specifically around the Bleu-Eyes White Dragon, one of the most supported cards ever, I might add. I thought I'd do maybe a bit of a history lesson, maybe like things you might not know or not mostly aware of the fabled Bleu-Eyes White Dragon. Now, the Bleu-Eyes White Dragon is one of the first few cards most people either owned or have. Simply put, because the Bleu-Eyes White Dragon was one of two of the ultra rare cards you got within the first two structure decks, which were Structure Deck Kaiba and Structure Deck Yugi. If you bought the Structure Deck Kaiba, you would get a Bleu-Eyes White Dragon, and if you got a Structure Deck Yugi, you would get a Dark Magician. Bear in mind, this was released back in 2002, so a little bit over 11 years ago that this game started going around. I personally have been playing since Metal Raiders, which, if I remember correctly, did come out in the same year. Let me just double check that, but I'm pretty sure. Metal Raiders. Yep, Metal Raiders did come out in 2002. It actually came out on the 27th of June in 2002. So I've been playing this for a while. Now I did take a break. Sometime after, if I remember, I think it was, it's hard to say. I think it was just before Light of Destruction that I did really take a big break from it. Just before Synchro Monsters became a big thing. If you're not sure what Synchro Monsters is, not a problem. You can tell me in this a comment below, and I might just make a video just explaining Synchro Monsters. But for now, we're going to focus on like the early days and a lot more about the Bleu-Eyes White Dragon. So, Bleu-Eyes White Dragon. To this day, the Bleu-Eyes White Dragon is one of the better cards you can play. Like, it is a light dragon monster, level 8. It has 3,000 attack points and 2,500 defense points, which even to this day, 12 years later, things that you can play with 3,000 attack points are pretty rare and very powerful. Your average big beast of the powerful and the game cards usually will have around that 3,000 attack points. So even to this day, 12 years later, Bleu-Eyes White Dragon is still a very viable card. You can play it, and your opponent will put into his mindset he needs to get rid of it. Now, it's a lot easier to get rid of monsters than it used to be. It's also a lot easier to play monsters than it used to be. If you're familiar with the game at all, you do know that level 4 and lower monsters you can simply play with no cost. But level 5 and 6 monsters, you do need to tribute one of your existing monsters on the playing field before you can play it. And level 7 and up, you require a double sacrifice. You need to tribute is a term that is used. 2 of your existing monsters on the playing field before you can play it. So, in a day, playing the Bleu-Eyes White Dragon, you would normally need to sacrifice 2 of your own creatures, and you can play. Nowadays, there's plenty of ways you can special summon it from your hand, deck, graveyard. You can banish it and bring it back. There's plenty of ways to do that. I might get into it another time. Today, I'm just going to focus a bit more on the card. Now, this card in particular did come from the Structure Deck Kaiba. This is the most iconic art for it, the one that most people recognize right away is like, oh, that's a Bleu-Eyes White Dragon. This is the one that was prominently featured in the anime. It is also the one that you can only get if you bought a Structure Deck Kaiba. As far as I know, this card hasn't been re-released and reprinted in this specific art since the original Structure Deck Kaiba. if you bought the Evolution Star Deck Kaiba, you would have gotten this Bleu-Eyes. So a different art. This is the same art that was used in the Legend of Bleu-Eyes booster packs, which was the first booster packs that was released for this trading card game, this TCG, back in 2002. I think it was March 8th, 2002 is when the Legend of Bleu-Eyes set came out. And if you're lucky enough to pull Ultra Bleu-Eyes from that, it would have this art. This one, on the other hand, comes from the Evolution sets. So the second structure decks themed around Yugi and Kaiba. If you watch the anime, they're like two of the main characters. Bleu-Eyes is the one that's been printed the most in different art forms. This one is still one of the most sought after one because although it's not very rare in its sense because there were lots of starter decks made. Right, when you started playing the game, you would buy a starter deck. Sorry, I keep wanting to say structure deck because nowadays there aren't really that many starter decks, but there are a lot of structure decks like the Saga of Bleu-Eyes, which I showed earlier. That is a structure deck. We still have starter decks now and then. The last one, I can't remember its name, but it was from. They come with several ultra rare cards nowadays, which is a good way of noting what is structure deck and not by what is rare in it, what is considered rare, and like what hollows the cards are in it. But that's enough of that tangent for a little bit. Let's go back to the Bleu-Eyes. So there's also a different art, like this one that I own. The only other one I own besides the one that's in the structure deck, obviously, which I actually haven't opened yet. This one is actually from Gold Collection 5. It has a Ghost Rares. It's essentially Ghost Rare means it's like you see how it's white and it kind of like has this 3D effect. It's hard to see on camera. You would really have to have it in your hands to see, but it does have a 3D effect to it, and it's a neat idea. They started making these rarities. Just you might, if you're lucky, you might get this in the actual booster set of a card in Ghost Rare form. This one, to get the Bleu-Eyes right now, as far as I'm aware, the only way to get a Ghost Rare Bleu-Eyes is from that deck. This art in particular is the one which he has a tablet behind him. One of the big themes of YuGiOh is ancient Egypt, and this is the art for this one. It has like an Egyptian tablet with hieroglyphics behind it. There are several other ones. There's one where he is standing on a spire, and there's one that came in the Shonen Jump magazine where essentially he has, I think it's a moon or the planet behind him. It's essentially this art as well. Now, the great thing about the Bleu-Eyes itself is like when it came out originally, it was a make or break card. Like if you put Bleu-Eyes on the field, oftentimes you could easily win the game because, like I said, it's 3,000 attack points. It's a monster. It's a massive beat stick. Few things even today come close to this. Like some of the most powerful cards nowadays. If I pull out my deck here and grab, where are you? Should be here. Here you are. Mecha Phantom's Dracosac, which is currently one of the better cards in the game. It's very difficult to destroy, and it allows you to simply destroy another card on the field. Still only has 2,600 attack points and 2,200 defense points. In a straight-up battle, a Bleu-Eyes White Dragon would still kill a Dracosac. Now, Dracosac can more easily kill the Bleu-Eyes by utilizing its effect. However, in a straight-up battle, the Bleu-Eyes would win. So, what are some of the fun things about the Bleu-Eyes? Well, the Bleu-Eyes does have, in my opinion, also, it is one of the best fusion monsters in the game, which is Bleu-Eyes Ultimate Dragon. The important thing to note when we're talking about Bleu-Eyes and set in general is that in the base cards, the big powerful cards, they're always beat sticks. Very few of them that are called Bleu-Eyes will have like an effect or an ability or something of that nature. So for the Bleu-Eyes Ultimate Dragon, which is this card here, it has 4,500 attack points and 3,800 defense points. It requires 3 Bleu-Eyes White Dragon fused together using any fusion materials such as polymerization, fusion gate, things like that. I think Dragon Gate as well will let you get this. You used to be able to use Future Fusion as well. Future Fusion has unfortunately been banned now. There was a deck back in early 2012, 11, 12, which is a little bit too powerful, utilizing that card as a quick way to put dragons in your graveyard. Might be go into that another time. So again, like you would need 3 Blue-Eyes White Dragons, as well as Polymerization, and you would be able to summon Blue-Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Now, when it actually came out, the Ultimate Dragon was actually a pretty rare card. The version I have here is from a Shonen Jump magazine publication, and Shonen Jump actually released several promo cards for the game. I'm not sure. I'm not positive. I'm pretty sure that Ultimate Dragon has been reprinted since then, but I'm not 100% on that. But again, yeah. Speaking Blue-Eyes, talking raw power. There are only a handful of cards that I can think of that has straight off more, either close to or more attack. Five-Headed Dragon will come to mind, as well as Neo Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon as well, which has 5,000, 4,500, sorry, respectively. So, back in the day, when I started playing, one of the things about the Blue-Eyes is that it was pretty tricky to actually put onto the field, because it required 2 sacrifices. This is before the day of mass special summonings and discarding, and the way the meta is played right now. What Konami did at the time though, when was that? It was a while back. It should be here. Yes. No. Those stories. Let's see. Yes. Right. So it was in 2004. They released a second set of Yugi and Kaba structure decks. They were called the Evolution decks, and the Kaiba version came with a Kaiser Seahorse as the big ultimate rare card on it. 1700 attack points and 1650 defense points. By itself, it's not an amazing card. It was pretty good at the time. Level 4 monsters with 1600 and above, I should say, were pretty rare and pretty sought after, right? Back then, you would play things like Lajin. I know I played a lot of the Opticlops because it had 1800 attacks. Things that had level 4 1900 attack points, they were pretty godly, right? Because they were something you could throw on the field, and it would be pretty hard for your opponent to dislodge easily without burning a few cards to do it. But the great thing about the Kaiser Seahorse specifically is that if it is used as a tribute, so it means you sacrifice it when it's already on the field, for a light attribute monster, it will count as 2 sacrifices. So you would be able to play this card on one turn, and because it had 1700 attack points, it was not the easiest thing to get rid of. It still was in that range where it was like a little bit too powerful to just easily kill it with a quick monster, but it was still a little bit weaker. Like you drop something with 1800, you could easily kill it. But you could also protect it with Trap and Magic card, which I might go into just a basic tutorial at some point of how to actually play this game. But then you could just like, if you have the Blue-Eyes in your hand and you have the Kaiser Seahorse on the field, you can tribute the Kaiser Seahorse and play the Blue-Eyes White Dragon. And then, oh no, you have a big scary Blue-Eyes in the field, and your opponent doesn't. Now, of course, like anything else, trap cards such as Trap Hole, Bottomless Trap Hole, things like that, you could make you cry and destroy Blue-Eyes before you get to do anything. But by itself, again, it's a big 3,000 beat stick. Your opponent does have to go head on to that threat, or else it's gonna hurt. If he gets attacked directly by 3,000, that is essentially a quarter or a third of his total life points. Now, so I'm pretty sure I mentioned this. I have been playing since Metal Raiders, which was the second expansion set. Metal Raiders came out with a whole bunch of new cards, a lot of very powerful traps. That is where Mirror Force was originally debuted, right? It was and still is in a lot of ways one of the best trap cards in the game. And I actually have here in my actual deck, which again I'll go pick into it and pull out the Mirror Force I have. Here it is. The original Metal Raiders Mirror Force, ultra rare. And essentially what this does is when your opponent attacks, you can destroy every attack position monster on its side of the field. So still, most people, if you want to play competitively at all, you'll have 2 of these in your deck, one or at least one. Like 2 may be an overkill. It is limited at 2 currently with the September 2013 ban list. Now back off of that tangent once again, back onto the Bleu-Eyes White Dragon. There is another support card that was released within that structure deck Kaiba. I don't have it anymore. I have traded away since then. But it was the Paladin of White Dragon. Essentially, it was a ritual monster card, which were pretty new at the time. They allow you to play special monsters from your hand using a magic card, essentially, and you're beating monsters from your hand or field that equal the monster's level or more. And what the Paladin White Dragon did, it allows you to sacrifice that monster, which, if I remember correctly, had 1,900 attack points and 1,500 defense points. And it also lets you summon a Bleu-Eyes White Dragon from your deck or hand to the field, right? So you could quickly switch it out for something really powerful. If you had a Bleu-Eyes somewhere locked into your deck. So that was an amazing card back then. I don't think you could really play it nowadays. Pretty sure, like, rituals in general are pretty risky cards because the way they work, it can be very just dead weight in your hand if you don't play them, if you can't play them correctly, or if you can't search what you need. All right. So now let's skip forward a good amount of time, all the way to Crossroads of Chaos, which this is during the time I didn't really play. I only really got back into the game. Like I said, I stopped playing around. I think I stopped playing around back then around Light of Destruction, if I remember correctly, and Crossroads, which came out in. Maybe not. Yeah, I would have to say Light of Destruction was the last the last booster set that came out while I was still playing. That was in 2008. And Crossroads of Chaos, that one came out in 2008 as well, but later in the year. Oh no, actually, yes it did. So I really started playing again. It was just after, like, pretty late into the Photon Shockwave set, and Order of Chaos had just come out, and everyone was waiting for Galactic Overlords to come out. But what came out in Crossroads of Chaos was a very fun card called the White Stone of Legend. Now, this card in itself is not an amazing card, right? It's a level 1 monster, 300 attack, 250 defense. But what it does is, anytime it is sent to the graveyard, you are able to add a Bleu-Eyes White Dragon from your deck to your hand. Not amazing, but it's also a tuner, so you can use it as like a way to synchro summon. Again, if you're unfamiliar with synchro summoning, I might just do a video about it, highlighting it. I definitely do, because synchros are one of my favorite kinds of cards played in the game. One of the great things as well that they did release, which for a little while was one of the most broken cards in the game, and they had to hit it pretty hard, was the Red-Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. Based off of the Red-Eyes Black Dragon, the Red-Eyes Black Dragon is another one of those iconic cards. Here it is, right there. This version I have is from Star Deck Joey, which was the second wave, which was Joey and Pegasus. Still another one of those iconic, like, if you're familiar at all with it, you have the Bleu-Eyes White Dragon and the Red-Eyes Black Dragon. There's a fun history about these two cards, but for now I do want to focus on the Red-Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. It is the Red-Eyes Darkness Dragon. the basis of it, because there's also a Red-Eyes Metal Dragon that was printed. Wasn't very good, which is a monster with 2000 attack. This, on the other hand, pretty broken card. If you have a Dragon monster in the field, you can banish it, and you can special summon this card. No tributes required. And then you can, once per turn, special summon a Dragon monster from your hand or graveyard to the field. So if you have Blue-Eyes in your hand and Red-Eyes Darkness on the field, you can essentially get a Blue-Eyes and a Red-Eyes Darkness on the field. And Red-Eyes Darkness, 2000 attack points. Quite a scary card by itself. And there are some crazy plays you can do with this card. It is a broken card, but a very fun card still to play, because played correctly, it'll just do some very terrible things to your opponent. So I think that's pretty much going to do it for our little brief history of the Blue-Eyes White Dragon. Some fun things to do with. I might just do an unboxing video of the Saga set. I'm actually not that familiar with the cards that are in it, so I might do a little bit of research first. If you enjoyed this, please leave a comment so I know, and I'll make more of these. If not, thanks for watching, and I will definitely be doing more of these, so stay tuned to see what comes up next. Thank you very much, and have yourself a good day.